I hope you're having a great day. Well, today we're going to talk about a very, very important subject called inflammation. Now, inflammation isn't all that bad. We need inflammation in the human body. It's the human body doing the right thing at the right time. Inflammation is the human body's defense mechanism to protect us against harm from injury, infection, toxins, viruses, and bacteria. So inflammation is part of your immune system that protects us. The problem is when inflammation increases in our system and doesn't reduce. That's something called chronic inflammation. So I'm going to explain this best through a very, very simple example. If we take a pin and we poke our finger, we prick our finger and there's a little bit of blood that comes out. Now what's going to happen? Your body's going to produce inflammation. Your WBCs, which are your white blood cells, are going to rush towards this little prick in your finger, basically to fight any infection, bacteria, virus, germs, pathogens that may enter through your broken skin. Okay, so your WBCs rush, your immune system is basically triggered off, your blood flow will rush towards that little prick mark, causing a redness, a swelling, and a little bit of inflammation to basically prevent you from bleeding to death, because our blood will basically prevent it from, will have material that helps you clot, so you don't bleed to death. Okay, what happens is there are certain chemicals that may be produced that basically allows fluid to leak in from your tissues around that area, creating a swelling. All of this is your body doing the right thing to protect you, to protect inflammation and flight. That's called inflammation. That is your immune response to an injury. Now that after a while, as that healing process begins, the redness will disappear, the swelling will come down, your immune system relaxes, inflammation relaxes, and everything has basically resumed back to normal. Now, chronic inflammation is when that inflammatory response stays higher in your body and it doesn't come down. Now, that is extremely dangerous because chronic inflammation messes up with your cell DNA. It messes up with your cell structure. It starts attacking, causing your immune system to attack your joints, causing, pains like arthritis, lupus, all of your autoimmune disorders. Sometimes when you have a leaky gut syndrome and there are molecules in your blood which shouldn't be there. But because you have a leaky gut, these molecules have entered your blood. And your immune system, in its attempt to protect you, starts attacking these molecules that has a resemblance sometimes to your thyroid gland, so then you have a Hashimoto's, sometimes to the myelin sheath in your system, your nerves, you have multiple sclerosis, sometimes to the DNA of your system, certain cancers, your joints, arthritis, and all of that stuff. But let's understand basically what really happens in the body. What are the best indicators, the blood tests that you can do to check inflammation? One is your CRP test, your C-reactive protein. This is an inflammatory marker in the human body. So when your CRP levels are extremely high, you know that there is inflammation in your body. Now you shouldn't always get worried about that. Sometimes you've gone through a surgery, your CRP levels will be high. You've gone through an injury, your CRP levels will be high. So it's always good to diagnose and to break down that CRP reading and to correlate it with what's happening in your life and your lifestyle at that particular time. Then you look at HCRP, which is inflammation in your heart. That's very important for people who are going through surgeries, cardiovascular problems, or it's a great indicator that there's inflammation in your heart and you need to bring about a change of lifestyle and probably see your doctor at the same time. High homocysteine levels is also an inflammatory marker. Most people have high homocysteine levels when their vitamin B12 levels are low. So if your vitamin B12 levels are low and your homocysteine is high, don't get too worried about it. As you bump up your B12 levels, your homocysteine will automatically come down. But if your B12 levels are good and your homocysteine is high, that is an inflammatory marker that you want to immediately pay attention to. And then we have your CBC, which is your complete blood count. So sometimes when you see your white blood cells really, really high, like I said, when there's inflammation, your WBCs increase to go and protect you. So you want to correlate all these readings and not just do your CRP and get worried that you have cancer or something in your body. Always break it down, don't react, diagnose and break it down the right way. Now, most people will Google what are the best foods to reduce inflammation. And yes, there are anti-inflammatory foods, but before that, what we need to do is look at how we can enable our body to prevent inflammation from staying chronic. The first thing that we look at is your white sugar. White sugar and inflammation go hand in hand. Not that little white sugar that you may have in your 1 or 2 cups of tea in a day and an occasional dessert here and there. I'm talking about when you're eating too much of processed, too much of junk. There's white hidden sugar in all of the foods that you have and you're overdoing it. I'm talking about aerated drinks that are rich in high corn fructose syrup. Most of your packaged foods are rich in something called high corn fructose syrup. This is detrimental to your system. It creates immediate inflammation in the human body, which is why most of the advice that the medical community gives you when you're sick, eat what you want, is actually the worst advice that any medical professional could ever give you. Because if you eat what you want, you're eating foods that are actually increasing inflammation and not allowing you to heal. Yes, that community with medicine will treat your symptom. They will not heal you. If you want to bring about healing with treatment, you got to make dietary changes and ensure that you're not adding inflammation to a body that is already sick. Today, when we look at diabetes, it's an inflammatory condition. You look at cardiovascular, inflammatory condition. You look at cancer, inflammatory condition. You look at all of your autoimmune disorders, inflammatory conditions, which means you have to make a change in your diet and lifestyle if you have any illness, any sickness, or even if you're healthy and you're looking at preventing the onset of disease. Your diet and your lifestyle plays a huge role. So the number one thing is your sugar and your high corn fructose syrup, which is why we tell all cancer patients the number one thing you stop is white sugar. Yes, the medical community will tell you there's no evidence and stuff. Yes, there's no evidence. It's not always about evidence. It's also a lot about common sense. It's already proven in medical science that sugar causes inflammation. Now you do the math and you decide which way you want to go when you have disease in your body. The second thing that's wreaking havoc with inflammation in the body is the increase of trans fats that we have in our diet. So when you do all of these hydrogenated oils and packaged and processed foods that have trans fats, you're increasing inflammation in your body. Your vegetable oils, your so-called healthy vegetable refined oils is the number one cause of most inflammation in people across the world. You need to understand there was a time where the world consumed wood-churned oils or cold-pressed oils that were not refined. Refined was to increase the shelf life of the oils, to reduce the price of the oils, and to make it like a mass product. And with that, with refined oils hitting the market, we saw an increase in inflammatory conditions like your cholesterol, your heart disease, and everything else. If you look at traditional India, we use pure ghee to eat and we use wood-churned oils. People would take coconut and go to the mills and extract their oils. People would take mustard seeds, go and extract their oils. This was wood-churned. There were no chemicals added. It was not refined. And at that point, we didn't have the kind of disease that we have in our country today. The moment the olive oil mafia moved into the country and started removing all of our original oils and flooding the market with all these extra virgin and olive oils and the refined oils, that's when disease started increasing. There's a direct correlation with that. So right now, the number one thing that you can do in your household is move off refined oils. Yeah, it may be a little more expensive, but then so will your medical bills at the end of the day. And I think if you support most of the wood-churned oils in the mills that do this, the price has to drop at some time because it's all supply and demand. So we got to create and rechange the food chain of our country and countries across the globe by supporting the methods that are actually right for us. So your vegetable oils, so you look at pure ghee, you look at pure groundnut oil, which is not refined oil, you look at your mustard oils, you look at your coconut oil, whatever oil you use. There's nothing wrong with olive oil if you use it the right way. You never use it to cook Indian food. You never. And the so-called olive oil in the market that is made for Indian cooking, it's not possible unless it's refined and they've added a lot of stuff to it. Olive oil has a very low heating temperature, which smokes, causes free radicals that causes inflammation in the human body. Indian food, we tend to cook our food a lot, which is why we use oil mediums that have a higher heating temperature, like your pure ghee, your mustard oil, your groundnut oil. All of these oils are great for Indian cooking. You can use olive oil. It's great for reducing inflammation as well. But when you're doing like a light saute or very, very light fry where your food isn't going to smoke, and you can use it raw in your salads. It's great for your heart. It's great for reducing inflammation when it is used the right way. Then we have alcohol and smoking. Excessive alcohol will cause inflammation in your body. Binge drinking will cause inflammation in your body. Smoking, we all know about that, will cause inflammation in your body at the same time. A sedentary lifestyle will also create inflammation in your system. The human body is designed to move, not to be sedentary, not to be sitting in one place for a long period of time. So rather, you can be eating all the anti-inflammatory foods in the world, but if you are sedentary, you will have inflammation in the body. So move more. My favorite point, because this is inexpensive, it's free, and it has everything to do with human health. Your sleep. There is enough of science showing that a night of good sleep is when our inflammation reduces. Sleep deprivation increases inflammation in the human body. I will repeat that again. Sleep deprivation increases inflammation in the human body, which is why when we're sick, the human body tries to slow you down so that we can rest, we can sleep more, reduce inflammation, and heal. No matter what anyone tells you in this world, because no one can charge you money for sleep. Let's use our common sense and understand that that's why sleep as a mechanism is built into nature. Animals, all of us, species, to relax, rejuvenate, grow, improve our hormonal balance, and do all that magic while we sleep. You deprive yourself of sleep, you have more inflammation in your body, which is why it is so important for people who are going through cancer and disease that you improve the quality of your sleep, because more powerful than your chemo, radiation, organic food, diet, and all of that stuff is your sleep. It is a healing drug that is inexpensive and free. Please use it. It has everything to do with inflammation. Now coming back, and then we talk about wheat and we talk about milk, because yes, the quality of wheat has changed. Gluten has gotten tougher. That creates inflammation in our gut and on our body. So if you have a lot of inflammation in your body, sometimes the best thing you can do is get off wheat and get off dairy for a while and see if there's positive change that's happening in your body. If it's not the problem with wheat and dairy, go ahead and have good quality of both. But sometimes just by getting off wheat and dairy for about 2 to 3 weeks, it's not that difficult. You'll notice that a lot of inflammation, pains, swellings, attacks of your immune system on your body will reduce, because these are highly inflammatory foods. Cut it out of your system, your body starts basically adapting and healing you. Now moving into foods that can heal us. Any food that nature's given us, again, your vegetables, your fruits, your cruciferous vegetables, your colored fruits, these are rich in antioxidants. Antioxidants neutralize free radicals. Free radicals is what causes inflammation in the human body. So if I have the right amount of antioxidants, I'm breathing in free radicals every day. The pollution in the air that you're having, contamination in food, is producing free radicals in our system. We need to have antioxidants from our natural foods to neutralize those free radicals so that we automatically reduce your inflammation. Which is why I am against certain diets that basically tell you not to eat fruits, that cut down most of the most antioxidant rich vegetables, because you may lose your weight with all these diets, fad diets, but you're producing more inflammation, you're decreasing your immune function in the human body and all of that stuff. So if you have a short-term goal for weight loss, that's fine, but always think of a long-term goal where you can lose weight and maintain your immune function and your health, and how your health is going to be 10 to 15 years down the line. Things like avocados, things like olive oil, your nuts and seeds are great fats that can help you reduce inflammation. Turmeric, fantastic spice when it comes to reducing inflammation. We're all aware of curcumin. Curcumin is a power spice, a power nutraceutical supplement, whatever you want to call it, to reduce inflammation in your body. Fenugreek, which is also your methi seeds. It's fantastic for you to reduce inflammation. Your ginger, your cinnamon. What we're talking about is what nature's given you, and this should be part of your daily diet. Fruits, vegetables, spices, nuts, seeds, the right oils. That's what you need to stay healthy and to prevent disease. Black tea and green tea done in moderation. 1 or 2 cups of black tea, great for reducing inflammation. 1 or 2 cups of green tea, great for reducing inflammation. Or you can just do your own concoction where you boil a little bit of ginger, add a little bit of turmeric, some methi seeds, a few peppercorns. Experiment with herbal concoctions that can help you reduce inflammation. Red wine, of course. Red wine has anti-inflammatory properties as well when it's done in the right quantity, not abused, respectfully consumed, not binge drinking and all of that stuff. Dark chocolate, red wine reduces inflammation in the human body. Your plain water, dehydration increases inflammation in the human body. So you want to make sure that you have the right amount of water. Stress, that's the last point. Understand this one thing about stress. All your excuses and everything else, everyone has all of that. But understand the science of stress. If you are chronically stressed, you are producing cortisol, which is a stress hormone throughout the day. Cortisol, elevated levels of cortisol increases inflammation in the body. Doesn't matter if you eat in balance, organic food, you work out every day, all of this is in place. But if you're chronically stressed, if you're chronically emotionally distressed, your elevated levels of cortisol is keeping inflammation at the highest. Only when cortisol reduces will your inflammation come down. So sometimes our own stress levels creates inflammation, chronic inflammation in the human body. And so yes, there is a direct connection between cancer and inflammation and all your diseases, because chronic inflammation affects the DNA of your cells. Every disease originates in a cell, which involves your DNA, the chemistry of your cell, the biology of your cell, the physiology of your cell. Everything that impacts your cell can create disease. If it's impacting it the positive way, good for you. If it's impacting it the negative way, bad for you. You want to take preventive precautions immediately. And that's it about inflammation. What does this all tell you about? It's a lot of content. It tells you about one thing: balance, simplicity, and self-discipline again. No overdoing it. People who overdo it in gyms and train hard and don't rest and recover enough, why do their bodies hurt? Why do they get injured? Inflammation again. The body's not got time to rest and recover. Inflammation stays chronic, and that's why you have that ligament tear that happens, or that hamstring pull, or sore muscles, and all of these things. And no amount of amino acids, glutamine and stuff like that will fix it better than a good night of sleep or enough of recovery between your intense days of workout. The idea is to allow the human body to do what it does best, which means spike up inflammation when required and bring it down when the event, the injury, or the toxin or virus and bacteria is out of your system. Have a great day, everyone. Until next time, eat smart, move more, sleep right, and breathe deep. I have one more point. One of the best ways to bring down inflammation naturally is dry fasting and intermittent fasting alone. Done the right way, respectfully, it is one of the best ways to quickly bring down inflammation in the human body. Have a great day, everyone.